you're still standing. Not because this season was easy, not because it didn't cost you, but because you didn't quit. When quitting would have made sense, you stayed. Even when the pressure didn't ease, even when answers didn't come quickly, you're still standing. And that matters more than you realize. This season didn't announce itself as a breaking point. It slowly became demanding. One responsibility after another. One decision stacked on top of the next. Nothing dramatic. Nothing loud. Just heavy. Heavy in ways that don't always show on the outside. Heavy in ways you didn't feel the need to explain. You learned how to keep going. Without making a scene. There is a kind of strength that doesn't announce itself, that doesn't feel heroic while it's happening, and that often goes unnoticed even by the person carrying it. It's the strength that shows up in ordinary moments, when nothing feels dramatic, but everything still requires effort. The strength to stay consistent, the strength to keep your tone calm, the strength to make measured decisions when emotions are asking for release. You didn't wake up each day feeling ready. You woke up aware that the day would demand something from you again. And you met it anyway. Not perfectly, but faithfully. You learned how to hold tension without letting it spill into every conversation. How to carry pressure without letting it harden your heart. How to move forward without the comfort of clear answers or quick reassurance. That kind of endurance stretches you quietly. It teaches you patience, not because you chose it, but because the season required it. And over time, patience stopped feeling like waiting and started feeling like stability. You became more intentional with your energy, more selective with your reactions, more careful with what deserved a response and what didn't. That didn't make you distant. It made you grounded. You didn't shut down. You settled in. You learned that not everything needs to be resolved immediately. And not every weight needs to be explained out loud. Some things are simply carried day after day with discipline and quiet faith. And even when you questioned how long this would last, you didn't abandon what mattered. You stayed aligned. You stayed steady. That kind of strength doesn't feel impressive in the moment, but it builds something solid underneath you, something that doesn't collapse when pressure returns. And that matters. You adjusted your pace. You conserved energy. You stayed present. That takes strength. Real strength doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it looks steady. You didn't wake up every day feeling ready, but you woke up anyway. You did what needed to be done. You carried what couldn't be dropped, not because you wanted to, but because it was entrusted to you. There's a difference between being broken and being responsible under pressure. Broken things fall apart. Responsible people learn how to hold weight, and you held it quietly. Psalms 73-26 says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart." Scripture doesn't deny fatigue. It names it honestly. Your flesh may fail. Your emotions may thin. Your energy may dip. But strength didn't disappear. It was sustained. Strength showed up in restraint, in patience, in choosing not to react. You didn't grow tired because you lacked faith. You grew tired because you stayed faithful. That distinction matters. Some seasons break people because they resist them. Others strengthen people because they learn how to remain. You remained. You didn't abandon your values. You didn't become bitter. You didn't turn careless with your words or decisions. You guarded yourself, even when no one was watching. Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you." Notice the promise. Not instant relief. Not quick resolution. Sustain. To hold from underneath. To keep upright. That's what God has been doing with you. You may not have felt lifted, but you were supported. Supported through long days. Supported through quiet doubts. Supported through responsibilities that didn't pause. You stayed functional when others would have checked out. That wasn't because you were numb. It was because you were grounded. Psalm 121:3 says, "He will not let your foot slip." It doesn't say the road will be smooth. It says you won't fall. You may have questioned your footing. You may have slowed your pace, but you didn't collapse. You're still here. That tells the truth. This season required internal strength, more than external confidence. You learned how to move forward. Without clarity, waiting is continuing forward. Without clarity, and you did that. You didn't force answers. You didn't rush decisions. You waited with integrity. That kind of waiting takes courage. Psalm 37:7 says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." Stillness doesn't mean inactivity. It means control. It means not letting fear drive your choices. You practice that day by day. This season didn't break you. It trained you. It taught you what actually deserves your energy, what actually deserves your response. You stopped reacting to everything. You became more discerning. That's growth. Jesus spoke directly to people like you. In Matthew 11:28, He said, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He didn't invite those who escaped responsibility. He invited those who carried it. Rest here is not an exit. It's restoration while you remain engaged. It reaches deeper than sleep, deeper than time off. It steadies the soul. While life continues, Jesus doesn't minimize what you've carried. He acknowledges it, and He meets you there. You didn't imagine the weight. You didn't exaggerate the cost. God knows exactly what this season required from you. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." Renewed strength doesn't always feel like energy. Sometimes it feels like composure, like patience, like clarity. You didn't become louder this season. You became deeper. You didn't rush ahead. You became rooted. That's not weakness. That's maturity. Proverbs 4:23 says, Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And you guarded your heart. You didn't let disappointment harden it. You didn't let delay make you reckless. You stayed steady. There were moments you wanted relief more than growth. That's human. But you chose restraint. That choice shaped you. This season asked you to grow without recognition, to mature without applause. And you did. Psalm 66:10 says, "For you, O God, have tested us. You have refined us like silver." Refining doesn't destroy what matters. It removes what doesn't last. What remains is stronger. You're stronger now. Not because you feel invincible, but because you know what you can carry. You know your limits. You know where to place your trust. This season clarified you. You don't need to explain it to everyone. You don't need to justify how tired you were. God knows the cost. He saw the quiet prayers, the internal discipline, the moments you chose peace over reaction. Nothing was wasted. This season didn't break you. It strengthened what needed to remain. You're still standing. And that matters. If this message spoke to you, like the video. Share it with someone who kept going quietly. And subscribe for more devotionals like this. And if you feel led, leave a comment saying, "I'm still standing." May His peace find you today.